Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael and we're going to be getting right back into some more Reddit stories. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Now, without further ado, let's begin. This story is told through two sides, one being the husband and the other his wife. The post was made in the AITAH subreddit and is titled AITAH for telling my husband we need to suck it up and buy our daughter a new car. My daughter Casey, 17F, worked and saved up money for around a year to be able to afford a better car than we could buy her with our family budget. My other daughter Alana, 16F, has ADHD, recently got her driver's license and asked to drive Casey's car. Casey allowed it, but Alana ended up having a bad accident around 6 months ago, which basically rendered the car unusable. The insurance payout wasn't nearly enough to cover the replacement, and with Alana's medical bills from the accident, there was no way we could afford to replace Casey's car immediately. Alana was very apologetic to Casey, and so were we since we couldn't afford to replace her car. Casey didn't accept our apology and has been basically avoiding us, skipping family dinners, and pretty much pretending that her mom, Alana, and I don't exist. She only talks to us if she needs a form signed for her school. I begged her to come to a family therapy session, and she eventually relented, but with the condition that Alana wouldn't be present. In the therapy session, she told us that she won't be resuming a relationship with us until we replace her car, which realistically won't be until next year. When the therapist asked how she expected us to do that, Casey said we could just make Alana work to earn the money. The issue is that Alana has severe ADHD and already has trouble managing her schoolwork. I'm worried that making her work to earn the money will harm her grades and have significant ramifications for her future. Casey said, "Well, she should have thought about that before destroying my car. I don't care, I'm not going to speak to any of you unless I have my car replaced." I responded that she was free to avoid speaking to me for as long as she wanted to, but I'm not going to permanently harm her sister's future to get her a car earlier. My wife agrees with me that we need to stand firm on our position, but is also genuinely afraid of Casey never speaking to her ever again. I understand that her car was ruined, but as a parent, I need to look out for all my children, not just one. I also don't want to set the precedent that emotional blackmail will work even if what you're asking for is unreasonable. 1 month later, the wife posted an update. I, 39F, and my husband, 43M, have two daughters, 16-year-old Alana and 17-year-old Casey. Casey has held down a steady job for over a year now and was able to get herself a car. She got this car right as Alana passed her own driver's test, so there was a little issue over who was going to be driving. After a little persuasion, Casey did allow Alana to use her car as long as somebody else paid for gas. We told her that wasn't going to cut it. Alana doesn't have the money for that, and it's her car. Her responsibility to keep gas in it and keep it on the road. Here's where it gets difficult. Alana wrecked the car about a month ago. Luckily, she was fine aside from a broken wrist and a mild concussion, but Casey was fuming the entire time and seemed to expect that we would be replacing her car. She and my husband got into an argument and she threw her arms up like a child and just stopped speaking to us. We coaxed her into going to family therapy with us, but it wasn't productive, as she and the therapist agreed that it would be best to maintain reduced contact until she's paid back. Here's the problem. That car was $15K. She saved up every penny for a year for that car. She'd ask us about twice a week if we had changed our mind, and obviously the answer was no, but that was the only thing she'd say to us. It didn't seem to bother my husband, and he kept saying she would get over it until last week when she packed some things and had my mother come and get her. She's been staying at her grandmother's for a little over a week now, and she gave me an earful. Whatever Casey told her worked because earlier today, my husband and I were informed we had 30 days to replace the car in full or she would take us to court. I think my husband is admirable in wanting to stand his ground, but from my perspective, we have two options. I am sick of my daughter not talking to me because of something that is not my fault. Alana has been a wreck, she's already battling severe ADHD, and now she's shaking at the thought of having to appear in court. So I sat them both down and said we have two options. We can suck it up, pay $15K, and have our daughter and sister back, with Alana just having to buck up and work. Or we can let my daughter sue my husband and me on Casey's behalf and almost certainly lose. We spoke to 4 different law firms and all 4 echoed similar sentiments, that it would probably cost us close to triple in the end to bring it to court and fight it there. That's when I told my husband that I am not going 30 grand further into debt for him to hold the pettiest grudge. He's saying that I'm being manipulative by holding this whole situation over his and Alana's heads. I'm not saying it's not partly my fault. All I said was that no matter what, at the end of the day, we owe Casey, and he needs to just accept that. We can afford $15K to replace the car, but if we have to dish out double that just to lose in court anyway, I'm divorcing him before he makes that mistake. In either case, I'm done not supporting both of my daughters. We've tried reasoning with Casey, and it has resulted in nothing. We lost this one. Am I the asshole for trying to get my husband to accept it? I feel I may be, just for how long I was being a passenger in the situation, and for threatening my husband with divorce. I don't think we did anything that wrong, but I'm willing to admit when we made some mistakes, and we have to make up for it somehow. 3 weeks later, the wife provided an update. It's been a few weeks since I last updated, and I want to start by addressing a few things that have opened my eyes a little bit regarding the situation, the first being my husband's post, which came well before my own. He and I fought over that. I truthfully didn't love that he used real names, however. When I found out he posted, for the sake of transparency, I used real names as well. With that being said, I went through with the difficult decision to serve him divorce papers. To really abbreviate things, I went to therapy, as many of you suggested, and I was assessed with a diagnosis of obsessive-compulsive disorder in my 2nd session. In my 3rd session, we discussed the whole car situation, and my therapist explained it to me in a way that made it hard not to feel awful for Casey. The discussion we had covered quite a lot, but the common denominator in everything that's been going wrong has largely been my husband. He's the reason Casey shared her car, he's the reason Alana got hurt driving on her own, and he's the reason we're set for court in barely a week and still don't have an attorney. As for me, I don't know what I've been doing, but it hasn't been being a mother, if I'm honest. One of you asked me straight up why I was being a passenger, and I just don't have a good answer. I let my parents know about the divorce, and they were a little concerned, but what I didn't expect was for Casey to reach out. The last time we talked was mostly her and my husband butting heads. I really thought she was about to turn on me, but I've never heard her cry like that. At least not since she was much younger. I make a little bit more than my husband, but finding an apartment was brutal, especially with Alana wanting to come with me. I don't think I was clear enough about how badly I want to pay Casey back before, but I do. Most of my money is in joint savings though, so there isn't much I can afford. My husband wasn't going to back down. I won't lie, I was selfish. I begged Casey to drop my name from this suit. I told her I would pay what I could afford right this second, which wasn't much in comparison. She told me that it wasn't so much the car or its value she wanted back, it was the security of having something of her own. She listed off probably dozens of instances where Alana got first pick over her, and it was very hard to refute. She told me that losing that much money sucked, but the bigger loss for her was that her first big girl purchase, which a lot of friends and family were excited about, was now going to be remembered as a family-ending disaster. She told me that she knows I can't replace that. We agreed to breakfast next week and joint therapy, just us two. Her only condition was that I don't try at any point to save him from the suit, which I agreed to. Alana came to me even before my last post, saying she only drove so far because my now ex-husband pressured her into picking up the grocery order early for something he wanted to make. This also changed my perspective. I was under the impression that she was doing her own thing, but even my husband owned up to that, which ground my gears. But I put it together. Illegal driver in an expensive car, not insured, and under pressure. Alana drove, but I've come to realize that my ex-husband seems to have a tendency to like to pressure people. He's pressured me a lot too. He probably pressured Casey into letting Alana drive at all, which brings me back to her and we finished our talk on better terms. I owe her so much more than breakfast out, but I'm just beyond grateful she's even willing to look at me. I've seen a lot of bold assumptions that I hate Casey and that I vastly favor Alana, but I only feel the second part was ever accurate. I've never hated my own daughter. I was frustrated with her over something I've come to realize wasn't her fault. As of now, I'm just adjusting to a much quieter place and to my phone buzzing non-stop. I've only been moved out for 5 days and Alana has seemed so much less anxious, to me at least. It's odd because my place now isn't anywhere near what the house is, but I think last night was probably the first time I've slept 8 hours since high school. Today was productive and for Casey. I'll admit it, I hope she wins. I hope she gets her car and then some. As for the divorce, I don't want much material. I won't say no to it. I'd rather just have my share of joint savings and try to tackle my own issues, of which I guess I have more than I would have been willing to admit a month ago. I know I'm going to get pelted most likely, but I want you to know I'm thankful. The internet is mean, but it tells the truth. And however this turns out, it's largely your comments that helped me see what I was doing wrong and who was enabling those things. And most importantly, how I could stop it. It's times like this where my dad would tell me I'm not lucky, I'm privileged. And I think that applies here. I'm privileged that my daughter didn't just laugh even though she could and arguably should have. That's the update. I'll update whenever Casey and I meet, provided she's comfortable with it, and then you probably won't hear from me until the whole suit and divorce is over and done with. I just wanted Reddit to know I hear you all, and I wish I could have seen reason when I first posted. I'm frustrated reading my own comments. Therapy is a powerful thing. User Tiny said, the issue is that Alana has severe ADHD. If your child has such severe ADHD that they're struggling in school, bad enough that being responsible for their choices is too much to expect. You don't have them drive. I have ADHD. I am 35 years old. I have never owned a car. The closest I've come to licensing was a few years where I had an active permit, and I did drive about 45 miles each way for school one summer for a few weeks with my aunt in the car the whole way. I do not drive because I am not capable of it. I cannot safely drive. The person blaming Casey for not putting Alana on her insurance. That shouldn't have been a requirement for the teen who doesn't want her sister using her car to do it. That should have been handled by the parents. Edit, I'm referring to those pushing for it. Severe ADHD is not a reason why you are not responsible for things you do that hurt other people. It should be a bright line for you to evaluate your limits and say, oh shit, I can't actually do this. Not everyone should be driving. If you have severe ADHD, so severe that you can't reasonably hold down a job without destroying your grades, you might fall into that category. User Pink Kabu said, I remember seeing the husband's post in the wild. Even if the wife eventually got her head a little out of her butt about it, both she and her STBX suck a whole lot. I feel so bad for Casey having to deal with these people. I'm glad she has her grandparents firmly on her side. At the very least, someone's gotta be. This next post was made in the same subreddit by a user named Strange Temperature. The post is titled, My sister-in-law licked my face and now my brother is not talking to me. Alright, I'm sorry for the title, but that's as concise as I could be about it. I am 22M and my brother is 28M. He's been engaged to his fiancée for a few months now. She is 24. My brother's fiancée is your typical spoiled party girl, and to be honest, so is my brother. In the last year or so, my brother and I have had a strained relationship. This is mostly due to differences of opinion when helping take care of our mom, who is struggling with some PTSD and anxiety. She got held hostage by a man at her job, is still recovering, and not back to work yet. For some context, my brother is a very impatient and opinionated person who struggles to see things outside his own perspective. He doesn't have a good grasp on mental health. He is easily persuaded by what he reads online, gets caught up in conspiracy theories, and I noticed COVID, the pandemic, kind of exacerbated all of this. I work as a paramedic, and he's been arguing with me about thinking I know better than him ever since. I am adopted, and my bio mom was of a different ethnicity, so we don't look like brothers. When he can't think of a way to win an argument, he brings up the fact that I'm not her real son or his real brother. It wasn't always like this between us, which is sad. He's just not the same person, and I'm not sure if it's work stress, life stress, or what. I get that this post is going to be skewed by my perspective, but I'll try to be objective when it comes to the conflict. My birthday was last weekend. My brother's fiancée apparently had the idea to throw me a surprise party. Most of the people there were friends of my brother and the fiancée. Everyone was drunk. They made a bit of a show of bringing me out a cake and having me blow out the candles. Before I did that, my brother's fiancée swiped frosting on her finger and put it on my cheek. I thought it was just her being nice and not trying to smash a piece of cake in my face. I blew out the candles, and after I did that, his fiancée grabbed my face and licked it, like from my jaw all the way up the side of my face. I have no idea why she did this. We don't even have the kind of relationship where it would be funny. My brother's face changed, his demeanor changed. He became very withdrawn and irritable. They were seen quietly fighting, and he ended up just leaving the party. I brought it up the next day to make sure he was okay, and apparently the two of them made up it's me he has an issue with. I don't know what she told him, but it seems as if I'm the one being made out to be flirting with her, wanting her, etc. Not even remotely true. I told him to leave me out of his relationship problems. It's his partner who disrespected him and embarrassed him. He's angry at the wrong person. I refuse to apologize. Apparently, I am going to be out of the wedding unless I do. He's upset because I won't admit to my mistake. Well, I don't feel like I made one. Should I just do it for the sake of settling it? Normally, I'm willing to be the bigger person, but this is a false accusation I don't want attached to myself. User quotable said NTA. What I don't get is why you even would want to attend the wedding. Strained relationship, he does not see you as a brother, his relationship does not seem to be on very stable footing, and he will become more and more erratic. You should put as much polite distance between you and brother and his relationship. For your own peace of mind, he seems to have already singled you out as the future scapegoat. To this, OP said the following, "This one hurts. I think I needed to hear it though. You're not wrong. I guess I'm just always trying to understand him and I need to stop doing that, especially when he's not giving me that same kind of understanding. I thought we could get back to the relationship we had before, but it's not looking like it's getting any better." User Rich Ad said NTA. I wouldn't cave either. Here's what I think. It's cliche, but you're probably the hotter, smarter brother. Your brother has insecurity issues about his relationship, intelligence, and other things, so usually those people tend to get jealous easily and have paranoia about losing their partner to someone else. I'm not excusing the fiancé either because she definitely tried to present herself as innocent or victimized and put everything on you when your brother confronted her. It's a cop-out, but it's easier for him to pin it on you rather than her. Since she is closer in age to you, I bet she does have a crush or at least some kind of attraction to you, and it came out when she was drunk. If she hadn't lied, I wouldn't think that, but the lying means she's trying to cover up her feelings maybe. Under this comment, OP said the following, "I never thought about it actually, and nothing really sticks out. She's obsessed with K-pop and I am half Korean, so she's made comments to me, but I didn't interpret them as flirting. I thought she was just trying to be nice and didn't know how else to connect when I shared about the whole being adopted thing. When she's sober, she is more awkward or shy. My brother lives with my mom, so usually when I visit and we're talking, my mom and brother are around too, and it's more of a family vibe." User Gudis Hun said NTA. Keep your distance from your bro for a while, especially when his fiancé is around. She sounds nuts. She also sounds like she's up to no good, so don't give her the opportunity to play more head games on your brother using you. Eventually, it's gotta come out to your brother how she is, and if you're not there to be the scapegoat, maybe he'll see the problem is her. A week later, OP provided his final update. After trying to reach out to my brother, he finally came around and stopped ignoring me. He didn't want to talk about what happened, but was willing to put it behind us. To be honest, I think talking about it would have been healthier, but I decided to let it go because he was so adamant. Then, just the other day, he came to me on his own and admitted that he feels unsure about his relationship and is struggling to trust his fiancée ever since the incident on my birthday. I told him there's no rush to get married and that he should take time to figure out what he's feeling. I didn't try to give any particular opinion because I feel like this is something he needs to figure out for himself also. I genuinely don't know what's going on between them. He still took what I said the wrong way somehow, and we ended up having an argument. He thinks I'm not happy for him and that I don't want to see him successful or starting a family. I tried to walk away at this point in the conversation because no matter what I said, it was just going to get misconstrued, but he didn't want to stop fighting. Somewhere in that, I finally learned why he's so mad at me these days. It turns out he's upset that our mom paid for my tuition. I've been doing overtime to pay her back. Clarification, if it matters, she doesn't actually want me to pay her back, it was a gift, but I'd like to pay her back slowly. My brother feels this money should have been given to him for his wedding, which I am no longer invited to. I don't really know how to fix things, but that's where we're at. User equivalent gap said NTA. Your brother is jealous and his girlfriend is a creep. I doubt their relationship will last until the wedding, but if it does, I bet the wedding will be a drunken mess. You sound like a good person, take care of yourself and your mom, and leave your brother to deal with his problems. Hopefully, one day he will grow up and want a better relationship with both of you. User Pride of Cape Town said NTA, and it's not you that has to fix things, it's him. Short of giving into his tantrum and giving him money, don't do that, by the way. You can't fix this. And if you start bending over backwards to make the man baby happy now, he'll know you will eventually cave and he will never change. The money was your mom's to give however way she wanted. If he has an issue with that, he needs to work it out with your mom because it was ultimately her decision. Him shitting all over you is wrong. User Celtic said, the absolute entitlement of your brother. He's mad at you for something his fiancé did. He's mad at you for something your mother did. Your Your mother chose to use her money to pay for your schooling. The fact that he's just assuming that if it hadn't gone to your tuition, that he would have gotten for the wedding is insane. Having a degree is way more important than a single day fancy party. I agree with others. If you want, send him a text to the tune of "things going poorly in your life is not my fault or responsibility, and the way you continue to scapegoat me for everything lets me know where we stand. It would be best if we don't talk at all, ever. Good luck with the Kardashian wedding you want, NTA."